Welcome to O'Talkin' with Dave. Coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, where what happens in Vegas is talked about everywhere. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're doing great. I am top shelf and ready to go. I'm fired up. So it's been crazy. I've been traveling more. I've been speaking more, face-to-face stuff, which I love. Large groups, small groups, whatever. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. But one thing I'm seeing is a lot of trends around certain challenges. And I will put you to the top of the list. And again, the disclaimer, this is not toward a person. It's not toward a group. I'm seeing flavors. And some of these flavors, it's just human nature, and we all go through it. And from time to time, I'll ask, show of hands, who's feeling this? Or, give me the top things at the front of mind, and we'll make a list. And one of these things is around a strange little trap that we fall into as human beings. So if you're not human, you just may want to skip this. It may not be as entertaining, or it could be hilarious. I don't know which it is. But the thing is, what I'm talking about is we get frustrated or angry or jealous or upset or hurt, disappointed, even depressed when some people behave in a completely predictable manner. Yeah, they do the same thing. They say the same things. They react the same way over and over again. Lather, rinse, repeat. And it's totally predictable. But somehow we're shocked. How could they do that? How could they say that? What is the meaning of this? You know why they do it? It's because they don't know any better. This is how they do it. A duck is going to quack, and they're quacking. We can't expect them to bark. That duck has never barked in its life. You're standing next to a pond, staring at a duck. Thankfully, some of us have this kind of time. And then you get upset when that duck quacks instead of barking. It's never done it before. Not one time have you heard I guess with AI, anything's popular. But we keep showing up and hoping today is going to be different. And when it isn't, that's not the problem. The problem is, in some degree, we suffer. The question isn't why the duck quacks. It's why we expect something different. And that's causing a lot of challenge at home, work, and play. People are predictable. And my goodness, Amazon has made an empire off the predictability of people. Amazon, I think they would still be very successful if I was the only customer. They know what I get text constantly or notifications, because it's not a person, telling me, hey, you're almost out of this. You order this every month. You haven't ordered it yet. Dave? Yeah, the delivery guys, if something is not delivered to the house, they'll check on me. You okay, buddy? We need to send in a wellness check. But people are predictable. We depend on that predictability. And there's firm psychology behind this. They've stuttered they've stuttered, and they will, and I do from time to time, but they have studied these patterns for decades. And there's a few things worth noting. Expectation gaps drive most emotional conflict. Expectation gaps, meaning the research has shown perceived violations of expectation will trigger stronger emotional reactions than unexpected negative events. Meaning, if we expect something and it's violated, that's not as bad as if we don't expect something and it happens. I don't like surprises either way. I don't. I'm not boring, but I don't, surprises. Okay. Oop, hey, what? But the thing is, that expectation gap, it triggers us. If we want a behavior and it doesn't happen, that's worse than a shock out of nowhere. Does that make sense? I hope so. And we're going to dig into that more in a minute, because why do we expect something different than something that's always happened? Why do you expect that duck to bark? Also, humans overestimate the likelihood that people will change. Hello. All kinds of behavioral studies show that we predict behavior change 4 times more often than it actually occurs. I am shocked that it's just 4 more times. I think it's higher for me. But we expect that. Oh, I can change them. How many marriages fail or are miserable because, I don't like that about them, but hey, I can change them. I can change them. At work, do we see those red flags during the interview process? Yeah, but we can work that out with training. That's why by far, give me someone with a can-do attitude and a willingness to listen and learn. I'll take that over a skill set all day long, rather than, all right, they're a bit of a turd, but they're smart. I can change them, please. And that's when it comes in and we're just devastated when they don't. What? Come on. Duck's going to quack. And also, there's another one. Negative experiences stick harder than positive ones. I think we can all agree with that. I mean, think about it. And it's not just attitude or mood. That human brain, it processes negative interactions 5 times more intensely than positive ones. What does that mean? Well, every day something bad happens, you're going to bring it up more often than something good happens. You know why? People are more interested in the bad. They are. It makes them for a myriad of reasons. The thing is, your brain learns to do that. We've talked about that so much recently, about you have between 12 and 60,000 thoughts a day. I know, big range, Dave. It's not my range. I didn't do the study. But let's say it's right in the middle. Let's say it's 48,000. I know that's not the middle. I did the quick math. However, 80% of them are negative. That's just how we go. And the brain translates that. Boom, boom, boom. 5 times more intensely. Bad, bad. Why do you think the news is what it is? Why do you think, if there's any print media left, the headlines punch you in the throat? It's because we are negatively wired. Exactly. So, all this is building to something, people. Hold on. Wait for it. And then the last thing I'll share on this one, maybe it's just one more. We repeat emotional investments. Boom. We repeat them. The sunk emotional cost effect is what this is called. Meaning, the more time we've invested in someone, the harder it is to stop expecting improvement. Oh, you're thinking of somebody right now. And the whole thing with this, I am not saying you have these problems or these challenges or these day-to-day pain, but you know somebody that does. But this one hits strong. It's many psychological studies. The emotional cost effect, meaning we've spent so much time. I've spent so much time on this relationship. I've invested so much time and patience and empathy and humility. That's why it's so hard to stop expecting improvement. Hold on to that one. That one's coming up. Because all this, just in simple terms, we don't react to what people do as much as we react to what we wish they would do instead. Homework and play. This can be a partner. It could be an acquaintance. It could be a boss. It could be a peer. It could be a golf buddy. It could be a pickleball person if you really don't have any real tennis talent. But anyway, some people trigger us and others don't. Why is that? I think the last thing has something to do with it. If we haven't spent a ton of time and investment and emotion and just sweat equity, it doesn't bother us as much when that duck quacks. We don't expect it to bark. However, when we put the time in, come on, man, throw me a freaking bone. However, there's something interesting about why some bother us and some don't. A stranger can be rude or selfish or loud or annoying. Oh, they are. And we just shrug that off. You're in traffic, you're in an airport, whatever, somebody does something, screw that guy. But when certain people behave in a way that's predictable and we should expect it, but they behave badly according to us, that sticks with us. Why? Why is that? I think it's because we've assigned expectations. You, it would bother me. You, no. You, I don't even know you. You, I want you to like me, so give me something. Well, we assign that. It's not just spreading peanut butter all over everything. We assign these expectations. So we expect more. We believe they should know better. You should be cordial. You should at least not be bad. And we assume that they should care more than they do. And when they don't, what do we feel? Even though we expected this behavior, we feel betrayed. Not because they've changed, it's because they didn't. Remember what we talked about with change just a minute ago? We expect them to change 4 times more than they actually will. And that's not even talking about the way in which we want them to change. Yeah. Some personalities fall into a cycle more than others. Some people are more susceptible to thinking they'll change and they'll come around. They'll do the right thing. Oh, my goodness. I think about 4 or 5 people right now, and at one point I thought that. I said, what in the world? Why were you even spending time thinking about that? But there are 5 types of people that are especially vulnerable to those who will not change. So these are the people who get offended by people who act in a predictable way. Offended, hurt, blah, blah, all those things. And if you're one of these, this is why it bothers you so much. The first one is the helper. Someone who just naturally wants to rescue somebody or fix them. They need a project. I'll get through to them. I'll make them do this. I'm going to appeal to them in some way to be the way I want them to be so they're happier. I'm going to help them. Mr. Helper. Yeah. And then you've got the loyalist. That's the persons who stay committed long after evidence suggests they shouldn't. You're not going to be friends. You're not going to get them to think like you. Look at the people who try to get someone with the opposite political party to like them. Well, they don't have to agree with us, but they can like me. No, some people aren't going to like you no matter what you do. And the loyalist, man, these are tongue twisters. They'll stay committed a lot longer, even though there's evidence to prove. Move on. Are you seeing the words that are coming out of my mouth? Then you've got the optimist. I'm guilty of this a lot. It's people who strongly believe that everyone's going to eventually improve. Now, I'm not this way anymore. I think everything is going to be all right and works out for the best for good people eventually. But the optimist is like, oh no, everybody will get better. Everybody's good. Everybody will improve. I'm just going to hang in there. All right, well, you've got 2 hands, hope in one and in the other, and we'll see which fills up first. Everyone will not eventually improve. You know why? Because the people who are eternally optimistic, they think they're going to improve to what they want them to be. And some people don't have a clue. They don't care. So to think that everyone's going to improve, you're susceptible to the pain. Also, you've got that high standard person. Those who just assume everybody thinks the way that they do. Well, I'm logical. You're just uninformed. If you were more informed, you would think the way I do because I have high standards and my way's the right way. And if you're not on my way, then I just think you should conform to my way. And I'm upset when you don't. I shouldn't be upset because I have high standards. And if you have low standards, well, that's poor you. But no, I'm arrogant enough to think my way's the best. And if you're not on my way, something's wrong with you. Yeah. Though they're very susceptible to pain from the quacking duck. And then you have those who are absolutely conflict averse. These people, they'll tolerate behavior. They'll tolerate it. They'll complain about it later, or they'll complain about it to other people, or they may not complain to other people, but they'll ruminate and complain inside their head rather than address it directly. I found two kind of people who are conflict averse. Those who admit it, oh, I hate conflict. Oh, I hate conflict. And those that lie. Oh, I love conflict. I don't mind. I'll get through it. And then, they never address it directly. So all these people they got big hearts. They got strong character, but this makes them easy targets. Again, the helper, the loyalist, the optimist, the high standard person, and the conflict avoider. They are hurt most by the quacking duck, the person who does exactly what they've always done, and they always will. I can teach them how to bark. No, you can't. But the problem is when these quackers weaponize it. Go your own way, do your own thing. That's fantastic as long as it doesn't hurt me or my family. Actually, it's my family or me or people that I'm very close to. As long as you don't hurt them, okay, we need to address why it's hurting them. But the problem is when people actually weaponize this predictable behavior. Some people understand the dynamic very well, and they use it. I get to you and I know it. So I'm going to use that to get to you more. I'm going to make you miserable. I'm going to key on this. I'm going to drive you up a wall just for sport, which is horrible at home, work, or play. It's a horrible thing to do. However, you can definitely not let it impact you. Yeah. But let's talk about these weaponized ducks. There's a mental picture for you. So I'll give you some examples just like I did the ones who are most hurt by these. One is the chronic excuse maker. You know them. Oh, you know them. They're always late. They're irresponsible. They'll apologize so they seem meek and contrite, but they don't change. There's always an excuse. It's not them. They'll apologize, but they don't take any of the blame or responsibility. Anybody coming to mind? Hello. Then you've got, and these are one of the worst for me, the emotional manipulator. They push buttons. When they see a button, they're going to push it. They can't help it. That button can say, do not push, and they'll push it with both hands. And then blame you for the way you react. They'll push that button till you react, and then when you react, it's, what? Oh, well, how silly. You're silly. What's wrong with you? Are you off your meds? What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? It's not funny. The emotional manipulator. Anybody come to mind? Doink. Homework or play? And then you've got these guys. Yeah, these bother me, but they're masters of this. The passive aggressor. You may want to get a pencil and pen out to write these names down. They're probably in the first two groups. There's no confrontation. They just undermine or delay and frustrate. Oh yeah, it's subtle. It's the subtle things. It may not be what they do, it's what they don't do. I remember I had a group, I've told this story before, and this is a real quick one. I had a group of inside salespeople who complained about an outside salesman. And one person in particular was very, very dramatic about it. He comes in and he just walks right past us and goes back to the conference room or goes back to his desk. And then he'll get through and just walk right out. He doesn't say hey, he doesn't say bye. Well, how long has he worked here? 24 years he's been doing this. Oh, I got you. So he's a duck and you want him to bark. Well, I had a talk with Mr. Salesman and I said, dude, just say hey. As you come in, just your mama not raise you right? Hey, how y'all doing? Morning. Hey, I'm going to do some work. And then after you leave, hey, see you guys later. Thanks for everything. It doesn't take any more time. Say it as you're walking. Well, it turns out he started doing this. And someone would speak back. And it's, it was a nice little interaction. And then as he left, anything I can get for y'all? Well, there's a couple of things. And boom, boom, a 2-minute conversation, and he leaves. Everybody was happy but this one inside salesperson. And you know what they said? We can't get any work done. Every time he comes in, we have to stop what we're doing and speak to him. Oh, so you don't want him to speak? Well, he can. Boom. The passive aggressor. They didn't confront the person that came to me because I asked them. They never confronted the person. They just undermined and picked apart. Even when the behavior changed, they still undermined and picked apart. Not to his face, though, to somebody else. Ouch. Okay, I could go on about that one. I could talk about the personalities there. I could talk about the difference in winter or summer. Okay, the fourth one is the victim performer. Oh, they'll just love the drama. Oh, they love the drama. And even if it wasn't toward them, they've got a juicy story and they act as if they were the target, but they weren't even the one attacked. Yeah, they raise that. They raise the volume for the group, and it's all about them when it didn't even happen to them. Yeah, and they do this. All of these things, they do this. The last one, and I'll recap, the last one is the one who breaks the boundaries, the boundary breaker. They push the limits repeatedly to see what they can get away with. What can I get away with? And these are the types who will push your buttons, boom, 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 boom. And then when you react, they'll go, oh, I wasn't serious. I was just kidding. I was just joking. I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings. Oh, you're not sorry you did it. You're sorry if it hurt their feelings. So let's go back. Let's go back and hit these again. These are the people who weaponize it. The chronic excuse maker. It's never my fault. It's never my fault. It's somebody else's fault. And I keep doing it over and over and over again, but it's not my fault. Then the emotional manipulator drives you crazy. They push your buttons till you react, and then they blame you for reacting. The passive aggressor, they just work behind the scenes. They don't do it directly. The victim performer, drama. It didn't even happen to me. Marsha. And then the boundaries. They're seeing how far can I go? What can I get away with? None of this behavior is random. They've always done it. It's predictable. That's just why they do it. And it works because somebody keeps expecting them not to quack. They've always done it. You haven't addressed it. You've done nothing to change it. And you can't believe that duck's not barking. Do you know somebody like this? Do you? Well, why do we put up with it? Let me ask you that. If it's predictable, why do we stay in this cycle of hurt, anger, resentment, regret? Well, there's some good reasons why. There's really good reasons why we will put up with these quackers. Because history, we remember who they used to be. They used to be different. They used to pay attention to me. They used to like me. I used to like them. We had so much fun. Maybe it's individually. Maybe they were part of a group. History. Remember who they used to be. That is not who they are. That's not their routine. They used to be predictable in that way. Now it's this way. But you just hold on. Because number 2, it's hope. Hope. We believe improvement's coming. They're going to go back to how they used to be. I got faith in that change. Oh, I miss it. I miss them. I believe it's about to turn a corner. I'm not doing anything about it, but I believe it will. Then familiarity. This is so common. I come from a small town. Things don't change very much. But familiarity, even unhealthy relationships can feel comfortable. I know there was people, as I was a child, certain people at school or at church, I listen, I watch. There's certain people my mom and my dad may not have gotten along with, and it was unhealthy, but it still had a degree of comfort with it. Part of the group, that one person that drives you crazy, but still they're part of a group, and that group is comfortable. That's part of it. I think guilt plays a role. We worry about hurting somebody. If we confront it, if we confront this and get it all out in the open, I go back to all these. They used to be so nice. We used to have so much fun. And I think improvement is coming. And even though this is unhealthy, there's that familiarity. And so I'm not going to push it because of guilt. I don't want to hurt somebody by confronting them. Interesting. And then the whole identity part of it. Some people take pride in being the ones who puts up with it. I just put up with it. I put up with everybody. I've got a trophy, a participation and putting up with trophy. Look at that. It's just got a person on top like this. For those of you who are watching, I just made a very dramatic face. But none of these reasons are going to change the truth. They're noble. I think all of them are noble, but they don't change it. Quacking is what ducks do. They're going to quack. So at some point we have to face this, just a simple question. Why am I emotionally exhausted by behavior that is completely predictable? It doesn't make sense, does it? If someone has shown you who they are 50 times, the 51st time shouldn't be a surprise, right? You think? So getting angry or hurt or any of those emotions about a predictable behavior, that's like saying, I cannot believe that duck is quacking again. That makes sense, does it? So I think we really have, there could be more. We could probably narrow it down to one or two, but I'm going to talk about 3 choices we have with this. I mean, we can break it down. I can make 10 if you want, or I can make 2. Let's go with 3. The number shall be 3, not 2. 4 is way too much. A little Monty Python for you. 3 choices that we have. First, once we understand the reality and that duck's going to quack. What do I do about it? First thing is, you can accept the duck. You can accept it. Stop expecting that duck to bark. Now, does that sound scientific? Sounds kind of normal to me. Dogs bark. If the dog quacked, wait a minute. Now, maybe we can teach the duck to bark. The dogs are going to bark. The ducks are going to quack. The cows are going to moo. I feel like one of those See and Says. Remember those? I didn't get one as a kid. I played with John. So anyway, 5 steps. If you just accept the duck, how do you do that? Well, you identify that predictable behavior. It's not hard to do that because you know what bothers you. They do this. Well, they always do that. Identify the predictable behavior and take the expectation or the anticipation of change. Remove that. Remove it. They're going to be blunt. They're going to say something that's a little too blunt that they could have softened a little. All right? No, that's what they do, and I don't expect them to. And then go to number 3, adjust your emotional response. They're going to do it. Okay? And I don't expect them to not do it. Okay? They're going to quack. And ahead of time, if I'm going to be around them, if I see them coming, if I know I'm going to be in their presence, adjust that response ahead of time. And then you can limit your conversations that are going to trigger yours. If you see it coming, if a topic comes up, if this person talks politics all the time and they're very strong on that, you're not going to change it. But when politics comes up, all right, limit that conversation. Or maybe stop it. I can't tell you how many times in the garage politics or religion came up. Hey, you guys know the rules, not here. Okay, and we go on to something else. But the thing is, when you accept that it's a duck, understand and treat that behavior like the weather. It's inconvenient sometimes, but it's not personal. Yeah, I was planning to do something outside and it rained. It's always me. Why me? It's not personal. It happens. The sunshine will shine soon. It's not going to always rain, but it's not personal. It's just the way they are. It doesn't mean you're approving it. It doesn't mean approval of their behavior. It doesn't mean I like the rain. I don't like the rain. I moved to the desert to get away from the rain. But now there's wind. Look at me. First world problems. So acceptance does not mean approval, but it means you're not wasting your energy on that anymore. So the first thing you can do, accept the duck. All right. And all of those things. The second thing, set boundaries. We say set boundaries all the time. Yeah, Dave, that's easier said than done. Everything is easier said than done, by the way, especially if you're a talker. But set boundaries. Sometimes acceptance or the first choice, that's just not enough. Because you keep having to do that. And then eventually you feel like a punching bag. So it's not enough. Acceptance is not enough. I got to set some boundaries here. Okay? Okay? That's 2 words. I think it's 1 word. Okay? Like likely. So how do we set boundaries? First of all, you have to set boundaries within yourself. Decide what behavior you will no longer tolerate. Write it down if you have to. I will not tolerate this from them or anybody else. I'm not going to give them less or more leeway than anybody else. These are my boundaries. Here's what I will not tolerate. Then you communicate that clearly and calmly, just like I said. In the garage, no, we don't talk politics or religion. And be careful about criticizing somebody's music. When that happens, hey, just so you know, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. And then you attach consequences to violating that boundary. It's simple. It's simple. The thing is, though, if you're going to set that boundary, some people may not know it yet, so you got to make sure you may have to repeat it more than once. But then you have to follow through on that boundary every single time. It sounds arduous, but it won't be. Because what you'll find is, if it's just you and another person, you shouldn't have to set that boundary too many times. You have to follow through every single time that boundary is crossed. No. Remember, guys. Tell the whole group, no politics or religion. This is a cool place. I almost said safe place, but I don't want to sound woke. This is a cool spot because we don't have that kind of interaction. Don't do it. And then you have to say, okay, what happens if you keep it up? All right, sorry, man. You can announce it to a group, homework or play. It can be the same rules. You follow through every time with the consequences to the violation. Look, if you're going to talk about that, I'm going to have to ask you to go. If you can't control your mouth, it could be with foul language. One of the few times I speak up in public is when I have my kids and there were people foul mouthed around. Dude, come on, man. I got kids here. And most of the time they're, I'm sorry, man. Sorry, I just got caught up in the game. And a lot of times they don't. They go the other way, and then you got to make choices. The thing is, most of the time it's not that dramatic. And you correct people most of the time. Oh, okay. Now they may talk about you behind your back. They may have an opinion of you, whatever. Okay. You're not going to have to deal with that expectation anymore. because you can't put up with it. You're just not going to accept the duck. Yeah. And then you don't, because the thing is, you can't argue with predictable reactions. The guy's foul mouth coming in, maybe you talk about it, tell him ahead of time, I don't appreciate that language. Or I don't appreciate this. Yeah, I don't appreciate, the wet willies. Whatever they're doing. Because bullies love to do this and they'll weaponize it. Don't put up with it, but you got to set the boundary. Otherwise, they're free range, man. So sometimes you have to stand up and say no. Because boundaries reveal something very interesting. They really do. Some ducks leave the pond when they can't quack all over you anymore. I'll find a different pond. When if it's not fun for them and you stand up to them, because if they weaponize this, they're a bully and you deal with it. So you either accept it or you deal with it. Or let's talk about number 3. Sometimes the healthiest thing to do is just create some distance. It's not giving them their way. It's changing your environment. You reduce your exposure to negative people. How many times have I said that? Toxic people, how do you deselect? Stop engaging in a circular firing squad or an argument that just goes round and around and they love it and you're coming away so frustrated. Invest more time in healthy influences. To me, this can be 2 things. It can be, it's not that I'm allowing it, but okay, a duck's a duck. I'm going to be around ducks. Number 2, I'll set my boundaries. But also, number 3 is, I'm not going to let it bother me. And I can be in a room full of people with my group, and I'm not going to let all of that bother me. Invest more time in healthy influences. You're going to draw the good people, and the bad ducks are going to quack somewhere else. And then you can redirect that energy toward the good stuff rather than be, you're just a punching bag now, and it's hard to deal with it. And it's hard for others to deal with you while you're dealing with it. I've seen this destroy good, productive employees. I've seen it devastate teams. I've seen people who love golf stop playing because a person, and now it's 3 foursomes, and one guy made it bad for all of them because they got to deal with them later or at the break or afterwards. Now they don't even like golf anymore because they haven't dealt with it. When you deal with it, you can redirect that energy. You may have to ask for some help. However, you've got to get past the fact that a duck's going to quack. And accept that not every relationship is meant to continue. I believe life puts people in our life. I've got so many examples. For a season, sometimes those people change. And that's the indicator, okay, they don't need to be in my life right now. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. I get it. There are people that I would have not hung around with 15 years ago now that could be some of my closest friends. Some people have to get it out of their system. And then sometimes my expectations have to change and I have to get stuff out of my system. It may or may not be their fault, but they cause a reaction. So let's talk about it. What can we do this week? Think of a duck in your life. Think of one. Write down that behavior that's frustrating you. What do they do that just, And ask yourself honestly, how long has this been going on? Is it changed? Do they just started acting this way? Or they've always been this way? And to decide which of these 3. Am I going to accept it, set boundaries, or change my environment to where it won't affect me? And then just do something. Take one step. That clarity about what you're going to do. Maybe set a trigger. If they do this, here's what I'm going to do. When they say this, here's what I'm going to say. When they say this, I'm going to excuse myself, or I'm going to set up whatever. Walk through that scenario in your mind so that when you're around this duck and they quack, You follow the plan rather than the emotion. So what happens when you make a choice? What happens when you decide to address it in one of these three ways or another positive way? First thing, you're going to get your emotional energy back. You stop wasting energy on predicted disappointment. Predicted disappointment. It doesn't take it. It doesn't take it. And you get so emotional to where if they don't even show up, you've worked yourself into a froth about a hypothetical. They didn't even show up. But you get that energy back and you address it. Because now you can focus on the positive. And that clarity that you get after you've worked through the chaos, that improves your other relationships. Healthy people respect boundaries. People will tell me something that, maybe it's a colloquialism. 6 syllables? Can I get a uh-huh? People respect those. If I say something they don't understand it, it's like, okay, maybe they thought it was offensive, but it's not. Or I didn't mean it that way. But I explain it. I give them some clarity. Oh, that makes us closer. Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah. And your stress will drop dramatically. You stop reliving that same argument in your head. Now, we can talk about once everything is cool and you keep reliving it, that's another problem. And that's coming up. A lot of the rumination. Oh, I think we're still fighting battles that we won. But your stress is going to drop because you're not spending time thinking about that. You're not dreading it. You're not on edge. And that's going to give you more confidence. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did the right thing. Oh, look, it's better. And you trust your judgment more. And then your focus returns to what matters. That's the payoff. That's the booyah. That's the double showcase winner right there. Because homework and play now, the purpose has returned. The focus has returned. The energy has returned. Life becomes a lot lighter when we stop demanding the impossible. Forget the improbable. The impossible. Dogs bark. Ducks quack. Some people behave exactly the same way every time, and you can't beat them over the head for that when you haven't done anything to address it. Peace doesn't come from changing the duck. Peace comes from changing your expectations and your response. And once you understand that, you're not expecting a bark. And suddenly your pond gets a whole lot quieter and more peaceful. I hope this helps you or someone you know. I think there's a lot to be learned from human behavior. And human behavior is not everyone else's behavior. It's yours too, and mine. So I'm using this to help me deal with stuff. I have for years, honestly. There have been maybe a dozen instances that's come up in the last 3 weeks in O-Talks where people are just the source of their angst. So hopefully this helps. Hit me up, david@otalks.com or david@otalks.com, or just go to the site, otalks.com. Tons of stuff. Tell you how to get hold of me. But let me know. I want to hear. I want to hear what you got to say. I appreciate you more than you know. Thanks for the support. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. But most of all, thanks for O-Talking with Dave. Giddy up.